story of FoundUps. Back in 2000, I launched my first internet startup, and actually it was a physical startup called the Digital Arena. I was one of the co-founders, and my idea was to add this component to it called Eduit, the nonprofit component that would allow for the individuals who were looking to get IT certified. It was a gaming facility. This was before Steam. We were launching a gaming education startup, and it should have been huge. I mean, it's like perfect. Look what it is. We could have, we would have gaming arenas, the digital arenas all over the planet by now. They were like a McDonald's for IT certification and education. I mean, brilliant idea. Shout out to Scott, who was the CEO and the guy who originated the idea. I just came and joined the team. The market crashed. 4 years later, I'm in Japan teaching English, and this thing called an iPhone had come out, and I'd been thinking about multi-touch education, because I saw that when kids were interacting with their Nintendo DS before the iPhone, that, dude, they would be engaged. I was like, dude, education built on a Nintendo DS with 2 screens with multi-touch. You touch it, and I was doing research, and I resurrected Eduit. And then ultimately, I got a new co-founder called Christopher Clark, right? Who worked at DARPA, and he was like, "Hey, Mike, there's a thing called Siri. It's coming out. It does everything you want to do for what we want to do for Eduit, education using information technology, right? Driven by AI algorithms, right?" And for 3 years trying to launch that, couldn't. And I just asked the question. 2009, Bitcoin came out, the market crashed, all this stuff, craziness. It's like, dude, I have double masters in an MBA and an MFA. I'm white, right? It's like, but the only thing is, I live in rural Japan without any networks. I said, is it me? Right? Because if it's me, then there's a lot of individuals, imagine kids in India, Africa, trying to launch their ideas. Or is it the startup? So I dove into the startup. And so I asked the question, and this is the origin of FoundUps. FoundUps was a dyslexic mangling. I meant to say startup, but it just came out FoundUp. I was driving in the car and said FoundUp, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool name. I took founder and startup, the end of startup, mashed them together with a FoundUp. A founder with an idea. That was the original meaning of FoundUp. A founder with an idea, doing a startup, a FoundUp. And I worked and I looked at the startup, and I found out that 99% of pre-seed means you don't have any credit investors fail. I found out that those with credit investors, 90% of those fail. And then finally, if they were VC backed, all right, 70% of those are closed, scrapped, right, recycled, technically failing. Dude, right? That's more than, that's crazy. I said, we got to be able to fix this. How would we fix this? So I started working on and looking at how a startup works. I looked at different things. I think it's I don't know. It's these big organizations like Microsoft, other have internal startup systems built into them. Google, everyone has it. Deep diving into all these different. Cisco has one. These independent arms, how they use. And put it together and came up with what I called the Open Innovation Framework. And a new kind of entity I called an open startup. that you know as the Dow. And for 2 years, I was reaching out to Dave McClure and all these startups. Hey, fund this. This is like and I use the analogy of think of Wikipedia as a startup, right? Decentralized. I use the exclamation mark to represent bottom up instead of top down. Startups are top down. You get your accredited investors, you need your VCs, it's top down. The I is where it starts. The dot in the exclamation is where it starts, bottom up, right? So I've been upset, and for the last 16 years, I've been pivoting. I even at a point in late 2011, when the Mayan Codex was coming out, right? This is why I wear this. This image saved my life, right? In December of 2011, my wife was, screaming for a divorce, and I had a herniated disc. I was in constant pain, and I was I was unable to launch FoundUps. I just felt my whole life had, was collapsing, and I was taking medicine called Lyrica. Lyrica, if you know anyone on any sort of neural numbness medicine, this is very important for you. And I just was like, fuck it, I'm gonna swim to China. And I said that was kind of my attitude. I wasn't depressed. I was like, shit's not happening. I'm just gonna swim to China. So I set off to swim to China. I left. I walked down the road here, and I got like halfway there. It's raining. It's drizzling. It's 3 a.m. You can go to my videos, right, on my foundUP channel, and you can see my December 2011 video. It's me at the Butsudan. Even though I was an atheist, I was like, you know what? I might as well make sure. So I went to the Butsudan, which is like this place where you pray. You pray to the Buddha, or ancient. Every traditional Japanese house has one, and you can see me doing it, right? And this, I got halfway there. I'm getting to this image here. I got halfway there, and I started thinking about my kids, Tommy and Mikey, and now they're at 16 and 18. And I was like, why don't I feel anything about leaving them? It doesn't make sense. Why don't I feel anything? I don't feel anything. And I was like, I don't feel anything. This is odd. It was just like intellectually odd. Why don't I feel anything? It doesn't make sense. I love these kids, but I'm not feeling anything about leaving them. And I was like, oh, wait, I'm on that medicine, Lyrica, for my herniated disc. I wonder if that's doing something. I wonder if the medicine's affecting me. So I said, because I didn't give a fuck. Lyrica makes you like, I don't give a fuck. That's why I say take it at night. Don't take it during the day, obviously. Maybe all the shootings, maybe they should investigate the people that goes into office shootings and stuff. Are they on any sort of Lyrica type like medicine? I bet a lot of, that shootings, other stuff, suicides, Lyrica is a type of drug that, I could see someone, you're in a car. Yeah, look at that tree. I think I'm going to go kiss it, or just, because you just don't care. It gives you this I don't care feeling. For me anyway, it's a dangerous drug. So I got off Lyrica, and, the next morning, this weird thing happened. This circle appeared. I had this circle. You can see, like, if I go like this white line around my face. I had a beard, and I have images on Facebook in a perfect circle, like right here. This weirdest fucking thing. I call it the Mayan stigmata. There's the circle, right? And there is 02, right? That's the circle. The Mayan stigmata. The Ouroboros eating itself. And I was like, what the hell? So I know I'd been working, thinking about the Mayan stuff. So I Googled Mayan circle, and this image showed up right in the middle, this image right here. And the moment I saw this image, all right, I was like, holy shit, look at this guy struggling. He's leaning over, he's bent over. He's got this burden on his back, right? And the burden on the back is the AI. And here is the open innovation framework where the tokens. See, every idea in my system in 2000, in 2000. I started in 2009, 10, 11, right? 2 years I've been working. Late 2009 is when I started, right? Was tokenized. And here's all the tokens. Here's the open innovation framework, the AI system managing it, like the Google algorithm, right? The algorithm on it. Here I am struggling, you know? Here, and I had Bitcoin in my system, and here's the foundation of Bitcoin, right? The foundation of the fifth age. And then right down here are the cyberpunks that coded out. This is code, right, on it. I was like, God damn. And these are probably other people. So I was like, fuck, you know? And it gave me the inspiration not to go back, to swim. I would have probably gone. I would have, if this had happened and my hernia disappeared, and I just got this new energy, and I said, okay, maybe these Bitcoin people, this is, maybe I need to talk to the Bitcoins, because Bitcoin flows in my system. You go to foundUps.com, read the white paper. Bitcoin flows from the here into our system, held in vaults. All the vaults aren't one. Every FoundUp that launches, right, holds it. Every FoundUp is built by open claw like agents. You have to understand that in FoundUps, right, this is a near zero marginal cost, right? This operates without offices, without employees, without insurance, without any of that stuff, right? Imagine, Facebook owned by the users. Imagine YouTube owned by the users, run by your agent. Your agent ultimately becomes a proxy for you. It becomes your proxy, your digital twin. I've been knowing that AI was coming. I am the most, right? I have more video footage of me than anyone else on the planet, right? I have more video footage of me on YouTube than anyone on the planet. There's not one person on the planet. Why? Because I know I needed the data for AI, right? For my digital twin, right? I've been filming myself, everything I do nonstop, so I could be immortal. I'm Undao, the atheist monk, here from the heartland of Zen in Japan, where I've lived for 21 years. I'm headed to Portugal. I'm coming out of retirement, and I'm super, super excited at at meeting folks, going to conferences. How did I didn't really finish the story. I'm like Trump this way. I'll do the weave, right? Let me circle back. So after the image came on my face, I reached out to the founders of Bitcoin Magazine. I talked to a guy called Michael Lisi, Mikhail Lisi, right? Mikhail, which is Vital Buterin's senpai, right? He was in his 20s. Vitalik is a teenager at the time when I reached out to them in late 2011, 2012. I talked to Vladimir, right? And I spent a lot of time talking to a guy called right here, this guy. So right here, this is Vitalik. Right here is Michal Lisi. This is Joe Lubin, right? And right on the opposite side is Matthew and Wright. Look, I'm staring right at Matthew and Wright. Staring right at Elon. There's Elon Musk. There's Satoshi Nakamoto, right? Elon is, engaged. That also could be other people, right? There is Charles interacting with Charles. I interact with Elon indirectly through another story. But these are all artifacts. These are all individuals that ushered in. And yes, here's Donald Trump. Right there's Trump. Trump's on here. He's the on this side. I was like, that's not him. This one right here, that's Trump right here. The flag, the bullet hole, whatever, the arms up. This is Donald Trump. And on there. So I shared all my work, right, with Mihal. And there was nothing really unique except for they stitched together. Think of Vitalik as just my dressmaker. I described the dress. They figured out how to stitch it together. Anyway, doesn't matter. All right. FoundUps is the Y of the blockchain. It is the fifth age. It is the economic system of the fifth age. We're in the fourth age, right? This is the fifth age. And the fourth age is over. The startup is a dead man walking. So is the corporation. So are the investors that get behind the corporation. This is a circular system, right? Circular system. There is no exit point. It keeps going, right? It's around and around and around. These systems that built on AI with OpenClaw keep building, keep innovating, right? They operate at a near zero marginal cost, which means that no entity can compete with them, right, on it. And it's open to everyone on FoundUP. Thanks for watching.